to Terry Messenger's Genius Zone. And this is the place and the space where you get epic value from incredible leaders all around the globe, where you can personally develop yourself and become the better version of you through listening to the Genius Zone of our wonderful coaches, healers, and leaders. And boy, do we have something exciting lined up here for you, because we have a lady who is a CEO, and she's going to give the perspective on AI leadership, human-centric, that is, technology. And she is an author of Wake Up Woman, It's Your Time to Lead. So she is all about your voice. Now, she's also former head of parliament in Switzerland with 20 plus years in high level leadership roles within the hierarchical and political structures. So you are going to be in for a big treat, but she is going to also empower you no matter what age you are, where you are in your life. She's going to empower you to know that your voice counts. And this, without any further ado, is the incredible Jacqueline. Hello, Dr. Jacqueline. How are you?
Hello, Terry. It's a pleasure to seeing you. I'm very well. How are you?
Well, I'm very well. And would you like to tell me exactly where you are in this wonderful world?
At the moment, I am actually in the south of France, just enjoying a few days of holiday. Normally, I'm living in Switzerland, in the heart of Switzerland.
Beautiful. Well, I feel most honored to be with you on your vacation in France, and I am very, very envious. So, you know, you are definitely very, very passionate about women who need to use their voice and, you know, their right to use that in every room. And, you know, as a high-level leader and author, you wrote a book about Wake Up Woman, It's Your Time to Lead. Would you like to perhaps talk to us about what your own personal experience was that woke you up and made you so passionate about this?
Oh, yes, it's a pleasure to talk about my own inner struggles. Obviously, it has been a leadership journey for over 20 years, and I was working in very hierarchical systems, and I had to learn to conform, obviously, in such top leadership positions in politics and government. We have to adapt. We have to just do what we are told. That is what I became passionate about, because it became difficult just to listen in a time where everything's possible with a new AI technology. I became aware also that information is coming from everywhere, and top-down rules are far too slow. We have to take decisions quickly. What I also lived and through is usually in meetings, or also when I got my directives and had to follow the rules, I was constantly performing, and my voice didn't really count. I'm very passionate today about the voice of everyone who should count, because it's important that if you feel in meetings you shouldn't talk, if you feel in meetings, in any case, whatever you're going to say, no one is going to listen to you. Your voice is put aside because you're not the one who is going to decide. That's what I'm passionate about. I tell you Wake up for it. It's your time to lead. Take your stance. Talk anyway. Go and get out your voice. It needs to be heard. Our world is suffering and we need to step forward. Everyone has its own voice. It's not the others not permitting us to speak. It's ourselves who give ourselves permission to speak. So give yourself today the permission. Speak up. Tell people around what you think about your thoughts and tell them what you believe is the way to go.
I think that is a very key point. It's, telling people your thoughts, because I feel that people speak up when they're they're argumentative or they're in conflict. And that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about being heard according to, some thought leadership, your opinions. And, we, sometimes get caught up in fear of rejection. I'm not going to be liked. I'm going to be rejected. And then there's all these kinds of fears that we conjure up. And a lot of people are fearful to speak. So what would you say to that woman who is perhaps literally fearful to speak? Do you think it is about her confidence, or do you think it is about her voice and her not wanting to use it? Can you decipher the difference there?
It's not. It's about her voice she doesn't want to use because she may be scared about not being accurate in that circle or not conforming to what some people have told her, or not being the person who should speak in this moment because she's been told not to do that. And in the end, she believed those people. She believed those rules. She believed that she shouldn't speak. I don't think that you should allow yourself to stop you there. Speak up. Your voice counts. You have a powerful voice. Don't get yourself behind frames. Don't conform. It's not what people need from you. People actually need exactly what you have to say. So don't hide yourself. Just speak up whatever you have to say.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Now, you're a person in Parliament and you're a person that's under, government rules. So, there's a huge piece of being in a system where it, I don't mean to sound old-fashioned, but it's a bit of a man's world. And, how do you go in using your voice? Do you believe that you can make a stand even in Parliament and where you are and share your opinions and put your views across? Because I loved what you said, Jacqueline, where you said you've got to share your views. People need to hear your voice and they need to know why you believe what you believe, because systems are not always right. And so what would you say to that person who's stuck in the system and scared to say the wrong things in case they perhaps lose their job or they get totally thrown out? What would you say to that person?
I would recommend to that person, prepare yourself to have this message, prepare yourself to speak up. However, whenever you have a job, the rules with it. You tell your boss, you conform to the rules. You conform to everything he tells you to do within the limits of your work employment. But you have the right to tell, and you have the obligation to tell your boss or the people around what you think, because that's how you take responsibility of your life, yourself, and the work you're doing. That's only how you actually take your role and your engagement seriously.
Yeah. We want to be world changers. We don't want to be just conforming for the sake of fitting in and popularity, because in the end, you know, whatever you put on the pedestal, you'll end up putting into the pit. And I love that. I love that, you know, Dr. John Demartini always said that. So true leadership begins with women who are obviously carrying the weight of responsibility, quietly solving problems or loudly solving problems behind the scenes without recognition. What do you feel is the, you know, impact for these women who have carried so much weight and so much responsibility for so long?
The impact is a very strong impact these women have. That's why I believe it's right time to adopt a new way of leadership in a new era with AI and new technologies. Why exactly that moment? These women always were actually leading, not maybe having the bold position, not attributed to them. But in any case, they were doing the work, they were looking after the relationships, they were moving forward with their teams, like developing them further, bringing them to the point they were efficient or are efficient. And that's now the time to step into visibility, to say, I, with my team, we achieved that and we propose to go this way. I think we need to take the floor at this moment with these powerful tools everywhere. Decisions have to be taken quickly. So let's take them together with our people.
Yeah, making decisions, very, very powerful. So, you know, you're an advocate for equal space for every voice, not only to present at the table, but to actively contribute in this conversation. And, you know, that is obviously your personal experience, even in government. And how you faced these hesitations and how this has inspired you to write the book, Wake Up Woman, It's Your Time to Lead. What do you think is the biggest message in that book? Or if you could quote us maybe a sentence out of one of your chapters.
Yes, I think it's very important that this book really came out from one era, one specific era I would like to share with you. It was the era when I was like starting my leadership role in the Parliament, just before COVID-19. I was engaged. I was arriving at my office, my desk. All the offices around me were empty because everyone was sent home. So how do you lead a team you've never seen? A message is you only can lead a team if everyone is on the same level. So if you respect everyone, they can work wherever they are, at home. They will start to challenge themselves amongst them. We would have discussions together and discuss the best solutions. So importantly, I would share the message: have collaboration, live respect, have trust. Even if you're the only one in a big building, everyone is outside. Have trust in your people, have trust in one another. So empower everyone around you and as well as yourself, because you're thinking collectively, you're generating far more knowledge. And if one is out because he's sick, ill, I mean, there are many others. So you're far stronger as a team. So collaboration is the most important thing. And take the lead in which role ever you are.
Yes. Wow, I love that. I absolutely love that. Now, we're going to also now move to the big part of the human versus the machine. And obviously the fear. I mean, as people get older, they tend to kind of resist a lot of the changes that are about and coming. And a lot of people are really quite critical and maybe fearful of AI taking over jobs and taking over the world for that fact. But you've got a very important theory about this, and that is that no matter what, there still has to be the human who knows how to code, who knows how to ask the questions when you are seeking counsel, when you are seeking, obviously, wisdom, knowledge from AI and the chatbots and all of those elements. There is still that element that you teach on of human beings that are the ones that are still inputting. So you're only going to get out what you put in. Would you like to talk about the quality of inputting? And, you know, for that person out there that might be fearing the machine, what would you tell them?
We have to be aware that there is human intelligence and there is artificial intelligence. If I'm talking about the machine, it is artificial intelligence. But the machine also is any kind of tool we're using, be it Google as a search machine, as technology, being email systems, being social media, being chatbots. We ask questions everywhere. We're connected everywhere with all these tools. So actually, when we speak on social media, when we are on internet, we don't fear anything. Now AI comes in. What's the difference with AI? We have chatbots, you know, they're talking with us, but we're already used to it. The only thing which is very important is that we know what has been put in this machine, what this chatbot knows, how it can reply to the question. Is it limited in what the machine knows? So we as the human, we are the pilot. We are asking the machine. We are like in the lead. We have to tell the machine, I would like to have this information. If the machine or the chatbot doesn't give the right message out, I have to check in any case this message. So the quality is important. What kind of data? So check always, what kind of chatbot are you using? What kind of information has it inside? Does he know actually what I'm asking about? And always check whatever the reply is. To become accurate replies, you need to know how to ask. There are different methods. I use the craft method. This is a method where you actually put in what content you would expect him to answer. So what question, what tone, what form, whatever you would like to know. So the prompting, how you ask a question is very important. What I mean by that is you need to be educated to use this new tool. You need to have like instructions how to use best and how to interpret these replies you're getting from this machine.
My goodness, that's so powerful, because really, while people are feeling like machines are taking over, it's really, as you're saying, you need to know what to put in. You need to know the tone of voice. And I know that the more detail you can give, the better it is. So if you are, writing a letter, who do you want to be seen as? Like, do you want to be seen as a reverend leader? And do you know a reverend leader that you can even refer to and say, write this so that it is in, politically correct according to, it might be aged care, or it may be whatever it is, and say it in the voice as if I am perhaps a queen looking after my king. I'm just saying this because I love to use AI, and I do believe that it has really, really helped me out tremendously, and in a lot of ways, where I think human beings, the one of the biggest problems with humans as opposed to a machine is that we have a heart, and we have a soul, and we have emotions. And sometimes our emotions can run away from us, which kind of almost leads me back to where your passion is in the beginning, and getting people to speak their truth and speak out, and move out of the way of yourself, and know that it's a much bigger mission, and if you're speaking from that point and you're not getting caught up in that emotion. And I feel that that's when you are generating from AI, it does keep it clean. But also there are the awareness elements that we have to discuss as well, like being aware of dilemmas, misinformation, and the influence of algorithms. Can you talk me through that?
Yes, obviously the dilemma is that these machines are very powerful. We need to be very careful what personal information we ourselves put in. We must be aware that certain skills we have today, the machine has it far better. So the dilemma is, how do we as human beings stay on top of the machine? Obviously, we have to be able to run this machine. So it's an assistant. We have to program it and to train it that it gives the information we want. And we shouldn't just be submissive and say, okay, whatever, I put some question in you, whatever you give me, that's okay. No, be on top of that. Dilemma is many jobs are made redundant, but there are other jobs. And we have to adapt, as always in evolution. Any new tool, any new system, the cars arriving when they were invented, they replaced, some other transports. Anything, the mobile phones, when they arrived, we were all a bit scared. We didn't want to accept in the beginning. Just embrace it, just accept it as a new tool and use it. There are going to be new opportunities. You need new skills for that. Just train yourself.
It's like driving a car, isn't it? We learn how to drive a car, So we've really got to stay with the times. I'm sure there were the days of the horse and cart where people didn't drive a car, and we had to adapt to that. So yes, I feel that we do need to move with the times. But it's interesting, like I often say to my mother, if I died tomorrow, I could have the most incredible book, because I literally have chapters on everything in my life from AI that are, from my coaching and my acquisition and everything I teach. And obviously, because I know exactly what I'm putting in, I can say, I want it done in this way where it's going to make a change to that person and help them to stand in their power. It's going to help them use their voice. But this person also has these limitations. They have fears. They have that fear of rejection. They've been brought up in this culture. What is the exact wording in that modality that's going to help make that change? And I've got that right through to where, I needed to claim legitimate insurance for my house that was trashed by a tenant, where I needed to speak, about what had happened, and obviously, know exactly the right words, because we can get caught up in our emotions, as I said. So, and right through to even my husband, and then, him being in aged care, and me advocating for him, and, everything that I can, put out an email, create a letter that is solid and politically correct and in the guidelines of aged care, as well as being a strong advocate. So, I mean, I often say that it could become this incredible book. But, obviously you are training people in AI. What do you think is the first line of what people really need to know if they were going in and they were wanting to really embark on using AI? What would be the first thing you would say to them that you would teach them?
The first thing I always talk about, the challenges AI brings with it. So the challenges of acquiring skills, of knowing how to actually talk to AI so that it's exactly doing what I want it to do, or it to do. It's the first thing I really teach them is prompting. How do I speak with the machine in order that I get the answers I really would like to have? So really this prompting is the first things I teach them. I always tell them, I also teach them how to set up their own assistant, the GPT, for example. They can integrate, they can use this chatbot like a real assistant, as you were talking about just before, Terry. We can really program this machine just for ourselves and tell him how I would like to have written my emails to certain people, or how to draft an inquiry, or how to write a letter to someone, or even how should I talk to someone, as you just said before. So I can program him with the traits, the skills, or my qualities I have, or the profile I have, and put it in, so he will reply instead of me, and with less emotions that we have, but we can put emotions in it if you like to have some. So importantly also what to put in and what not. There are legal regulations in force. We always have to respect them as well. In the context, the working context, it is important that we are aware of these legal rules as well when we work with AI.
Yeah. So, I mean, and really what we can do is we can, say to it, speak in legal terms, like, if you're talking to consumer affairs, or something where you were doing something legal, you can ask for the right terminology and say, speak as if I'm quoting, and create that and do it in the voice though. And you can even adjust your voice, like make it a soft but firm voice. And then, as far as being a coach, you can be, okay, I've got this idea. I want to help people. And I'm just going to talk about your passion here for a moment, Dr. Jacqueline. I want people to know that their voice matters. I want them to know that their voice needs to be heard in every single room. What would be the greatest inspirational talk that I could give to them in order to bring them out? And, sometimes, like, one of the things that, for example, I got a bit of an inspiration about this the other day, working with a lot of coaches, that too many people are making what they're saying and what they're doing, especially if it is online, about themselves. So rather than them thinking about their mission, they're internalizing it and putting the spotlight on themselves and shrinking themselves. Do you have any kind of remedies for these kinds of people yourself?
Remedy of not shrinking is just stepping out of your own silence. I mean, for years, I was waiting for permission, or was waiting for the right time for someone to say, well, just tell it, just say what you want to say, or just take this lead, but it's not about someone else's permission. It's our permission to step out. It's ourselves who have to take the lead and say to ourselves, just be and take responsibility for yourself and for others. It's the way how you say things, how you address your message. Go out with it. There is someone out there who needs exactly what you have to say, and this person is waiting for your voice.
That's beautiful. And of course, you're leading the change with, high level leaders, and building cultures and contributing to people that are perhaps sitting in that silence. And I guess, investing in reskilling, how important is it for people to invest in their reskilling? I know that, a lot of people, even in the corporate world, they're very concerned about, a woman gets to a certain age and then thinks that she's going to be moved on at a certain age. Would you recommend that she invests in skills with, AI and becoming competent?
Definitely. Everyone has to invest in skills using AI technologies. It's gonna be more and more important everywhere, in every business. So whatever job you're doing, it's not only administrative jobs. We know in biology, in medicine, everywhere you are is going to be computers taking over your jobs. So if you know actually your field of experience, if you are in marketing, if you are in in sales, if you are in housekeeping, whatever you are in, these tools will be there. But if you know what you're doing, if you have a certain expertise about a certain field, that's going to be powerful when you know to use these tools, because you're going to be more performant. And then your job, that's what I tell my staff, their job is still there. We still have to deliver information, media, articles, early morning. We still have to assemble scientific background documentation. We are doing it with the tools far quicker. We still know exactly what we have to pick. We know exactly for which topic what is needed, for which preparation a member of parliament needs certain information, which ones. We are the specialist on that. If you're a specialist, you're not going to be replaced. You're going to be boosted by these AI tools. So yes, get on top of it. Just learn like you learn email, learn how you use your phone, just learn how to speak to chatbots and use these algorithms, use this for your benefits. So you're going to be even better.
Yeah, because my profession is, clinical hypnosis and NLP, and I train. And look, I have found myself training really high-level leaders, teachers, and, CEOs, because it's so powerful to know how to use language. And language was one of the biggest things. And, one of the things that is the most powerful, influential thing that I learned as far as language is the truisms. And I'm not sure if you've heard of this before, but if you can state 3 or more truisms, the more the merrier, and they've got to be absolute cold, hard facts. So if you are, for example, you're moving into an industry where it might be aged care, or it might be an industry where you're speaking to a specific field of people, right? AI, this is where AI can be so powerful, because you can because what we were taught is that if you can hit 3 or more things of facts on the head and say, this is happening, and of course in politics, this is happening, then the statement that you make straight after is going to be very, very powerful. So it's interesting. So I know that quite often I'll say, okay, what are the 3 highest political facts and values that are related to that particular system? And then they might come back to me with their values or the facts. And then, okay, create me now a letter stating those 3 facts. But what's your thoughts on that? Do you feel that we do need to embed AI ethics and governance into that strategy when we are kind of beginning our AI journey?
Oh, definitely we need AI ethics. Definitely we need to be very careful what kind of AI system we use. For example, in our political democratic spheres, we are opting for sovereign systems, so everything we discuss within a chatbot, within a sovereign LLM, large language model, obviously has to be protected. Yes, we have to build in ethics, we have to build in equality, we have to control that the data is quality driven and accurate. We have to make sure that the information are coming out, they are what we are actually expecting. And we have to train, we need to know what the code is behind it. We need to know how the model has been shaped and what data it has been trained on. So we need to be very aware and careful with what we are using. And that's why I think we need all to get trained on the system to know that we stay on top and not leave it to whoever develops these machines.
Wow, that's amazing. So you've done some keynote speaks, and whenever I conclude a podcast, I always do love to ask this question. And I guess with this very powerful conversation, and I firstly want to thank you, Jacqueline, for just imparting so much knowledge and so much gold into this conversation. And I also want to let our listeners know that we will be including your contact details and your book into the show notes. So I am sure this is a book for every woman to read. And I am sure that there's going to be a lot of men out here that are going to also really find this a very, very interesting chat. So I'd like to ask you the question, if you were giving now one sentence, one gold nugget from a keynote talk that you would like to say, now to end this podcast, what would you like to say to the audience?
I would like to ask a question. How do we prepare the next generations for AI, leadership, education, and work? Let's embrace these new tools, but be conscious and work for our next generations, because that's our children.
That is amazing. Wow. I am so glad. I've never regretted asking that question yet. Well, Dr. Jacqueline, thank you so very, very much for your time. It's been such a pleasure to have you, and just adding the world and making the world a better place for having you been on the show.
Thank you so much, Terry. It was really exciting. A great pleasure from me. Thank you, Terry.